This is a reconstruction of Matty Hiroto Inaba's 4.72 North American record average. The previous North American record average stood for about 3 years and a couple months. I think it was in September, and now Matty has finally broken it and is just so deserving of it. So yeah, congrats to Matty, and this is the first solve. It was a 4.61 and this is the scramble. Oh, also, we can hold it with blue top, white front, so that the cross would appear on white. So as you can see here, what he does a Z, then a Y2 to hold this front in the back, like this. Then he does an F to put this blue edge here, and then he does a D and a U prime at the same time, and that also forms this pair, which is why he did the F as well. And then when doing the D and the U prime, he does a wide R, and then does a D, and instead of doing this, which would put the pair here, he does a U to preserve the pair, then an R prime. Then he could have done a wide U2 to put this pair in the back, but he just inserted it as normal like this. Next, he saw this blue-red pair, so he paired it up like this, and then did a wide D, and then inserted it, which gave him this free pair, which he inserted. And then here, he could have done some like ZBLS to form EO, which would have actually skipped OLL and given him a GC perm. However, what Matty does, he just goes straight into it like this, like that, and then he gets this OLL, and he does the lefty alg, whereas I do something like this, or people do something like this, but he just does the lefty alg. Or also some people do this, which is slightly worse, but yeah, he just does the lefty alg, and he's actually left with the lefty J perm. So just a nice lefty last layer, to be honest. And this was 57 moves, and it was 12.36 TPS, which is pretty cool. His next solve was a 4.92, and he did this on blue cross, so we can hold the cube with green top, yellow front, and scramble now. So what he does, he holds the cube in this orientation and does, well, it was a blue cross, but in this it's a white cross, and he makes an X cross using this pair. So he does D prime F to put these two in, then R2 D2 R prime. Wait, no, not an R prime, sorry, to get 3 cross edges. And he sort of does this free flop thing, so he inserts this pair and then insert this cross edge like that, and then he does a Y to solve this pair using keyhole like that. Next he solves this pair, I believe, but he doesn't do this, which I would have done. He does this commutator, then inserts it. Also, he could have done a sledge to make this pair rotationless, which is something that Yiheng would have done, but Matty decides not to. And then he could have done some ZBLS stuff again, into, I don't know, soon ZB. So he just rotates, and again he could have done some ZBLS here, into the ZBL goes like this. Wait, hang on. I think I misrecognised. It goes like this, like that. But he just inserts normally, and then he gets this OLL, which he does sexy sledge for, and you can actually predict the PLL from this OLL. So this corner comes down here, and just by like knowing, you can tell the bar's going to be here, because this will give an adjacent swap, and if the opposites are here, it means the bar's going to be there, and this bar moves here, and then this moves here. So from here it looks like it's going to be an R-perm. So I'm going to do the alg, and yes, it is an R-perm, and he does this alg for it like that. So that was 61 moves in 4.92 seconds, meaning it was 12.4 TPS. This next solve, it was the best solve of the average, and it was a 4.56. And he did this on white cross, so here is the scramble. He does an X and then a Y2 to hold the cross like this, and he does a very standard cross. So he does a wide R prime to put this edge in, then D L prime to put this edge in, and then D prime F prime to put this edge in. Next he does this pair, and he could have paired it up like this, but I don't see why he'd have done that. So he did this, and he could have cancelled into this pair with the sledgehammer, but he didn't. And also, if you see this pair, it's this multi-slotting case, where he could have done a U2 and then inserted it, but he just did this and then went into this pair. And then here he could have done some ZBLS sort of thing, and the pi ZB would have given you, would be soon U prime Niklas with a U2 AUF. But he didn't do that. Instead he just took out the corner, did a Y prime, no, a Y, sorry, inserted, and then went into this OLL. And if you know here, if you just do a soon, the headlights are going to be on the left, but it's a soon variation, and it has a U, so the headlights are going to be at the back. So when we do this alg, the headlights are at the back, and you get an A-perm. Hang on, my hands are freezing, sorry. Like that. So that was 49 moves, so fairly efficient, in 4.56 seconds, so it was 10.75 TPS. For his fourth solve, it was a solve that clutched the NAR average, and it was a 4.64 with a quite interesting solution. So here is the scramble. And he did this on yellow cross, so if you really wanted to, you could hold it yellow top, green front, but I'm just going to hold it white top, green front. On yellow cross, you can see this is quite an easy like block sort of thing. So he knows to make an X cross out of that, and his first pair will be these two, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it will be. So from inspection, he does an X, then a Z2. And then the solution he does is doing a U, wide R prime, to put these two in position to make this block. And then he does a U prime D prime at the same time. So when you do the F, this is aligned. And then this is his second pair. So he cancels into that. And now he sees that if he solves this pair will be a pretty bad pair, because it'll just stay where it is. Unless you do like this and then that. But he doesn't do that. And instead he cancels into this pair, like that. And he rotates and solves this pair. Now he sees from here, which is very interesting. You could do like, I don't know, that. But he sees, because I'm pretty sure Matty knows a lot of VLS. Maybe he knows all of it, I'm not sure. But he can see the VLS. So this corner is going to end up here. And then it's just a commutator basically. So it's going to be like this. And for this VLS, from here it's just a standard ZBLS, like that. And you can also cancel into this OLL, But an OLL-CP for this OLL, when these two are opposite and this one is like adjacent, is to do this, and that actually cancels into the VLS. So you can just cancel into the OLL-CP by this, and then he does a U prime and probably re-grips while doing that into this. So that were 48 moves in 4.64 seconds, so that was 10.34 TPS. For his final scrambled, it was a 6.75, and he did this on green cross, so we can hold the cube with blue top, white front, and do the scramble. So as you can see, this is a very easy cross, and you have this nice first pair. So he just does an R, D2, R2 prime, and then D prime, U prime simultaneously. He inserts this pair, and then rotates to do this pair. And then he does something quite interesting. I would have done something like this. He does this pair by doing U prime, R prime, U, R. And then he rotates this way and does U. And he like fumbled a lot here. LU, L prime, LU, L prime, LU, L prime. And then he hedges this pair in instead of opting for this ZBLS into this pretty nice ZBLL, sorry. So he opts for doing a hedge slammer. And then he has this OLL, and you can tell that when you have these, the headlights are going to be here, and then you're doing a U prime, so the headlights will just go here, like that, and then you get an R perm, and he does this ALG, which is quite nice. So that was 61 moves in 6.75 seconds, so it was 9.04 TPS. So yeah, congrats to Matty on this average, and I hope you can perform even better in the future, possibly for sub 4.5, and goodbye.